Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Quick look again at Bitcoin, see what's going on. ABC pattern for the win here, folks. Now, again, when I sent out my update yesterday, I mentioned that we were looking for a candlestick closure above 67,000. That never happened. Price actually wicked up perfectly to that level and rejected instantly and shot straight down. So that was basically market open this morning pretty poorly. But this is standard stuff, folks. This is, Bitcoin 101 right there, basically just sweeping those lower levels of liquidity. So we want to talk about this here just to quickly note. If you can kind of see here, 67,500 is the lowest point which we saw. But again, that lower level, the more recent longs got destroyed right there at about 68,600. So 68.6 is that level that got swept pretty hard. We do have more liquidation at 65,700. And of course, that heavy concentration about 64,500. Keep in mind, that's right where the 50-day simple moving average is hanging out. That's generally going to be a good support level for us. So if we do end up seeing a sweep of lower liquidity, that would probably be the last level that we're going to see. So just some friendly advice, heads up on that. Be careful trading Bitcoin to the upside just yet. While I'm looking for an entry in the 65 to 67,000 range, we're not there yet, and we want to just kind of be mindful and wait for this to give us some confirming factors. So again, if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. I hope you can learn something today. Let's go ahead and jump into the daily time frame. Oh, and I ask you a quick favor, can you do me a solid? Click the like button down below, folks. It's just going to help. Does no harm. Helps with the algorithm here. Gets this in front of more people who deserve to learn how to be better traders. So let's take a look here at the daily. Okay, so to clarify, right here, 65,000 even is right there where that 50-day SMA is hanging out. Same thing with the 20 and the 100. So we got a massive amount of moving averages hanging out right there in that range. It's a very, very good sign. To me personally, I think the price coming down any lower than that, at least in this leg down, so to speak, is pretty low. So again, I think 65 to 67,000 is a strong consideration there. Now, I touched on that yesterday with my YouTube shorts. Same thing in my videos too as well. Just kind of letting you know that we have this ascending trend line. Losing that trend line would be disadvantageous, and we got to recalculate or reevaluate once that happens. So we're going to do that here today and kind of see what might be a potential next situation here for us. We do have 3 red candles here in a row, essentially 3 black crows. So we'll talk about that too. We take a look here, of course, though, stochastic swinging down hard. We saw it shifting momentum yesterday and talked about that being a potential reality and that we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves with long positions. So I'm glad you didn't do that. Very well done. Taking a look here, of course, at the MFI. It's pulling back. RSI is still in decent shape. This is not a bearish scenario by any stretch, folks. It's just that typical shift of momentum. If we lose 50 on the RSI, it'll be a different story altogether because, again, when we lost 50 on the RSI previously, it took us a month to get back up above that. Now we're above, and there's a stronger chance that we're going to continue to see higher highs and higher lows. We just got to give it some time. So daily time frame is actually looking pretty decent. 4-hour time frame, what are we talking here? Well, let's quickly note that we lost a 20-day SMA that was running concurrent with this ascending trend line. Kind of, again, the thing that I highlighted yesterday. Again, it's normal for trend lines to break. It's not, the sky isn't falling. We're not in dire straits right now, but we can kind of see this trend occurring right now. So we're going to just go ahead and draw this trend line out. Pay close attention to it, kind of see. Getting back above that would give us the bullish type of scenario that we'd like to look for. And it's very standard and very normal for this to happen too when the price comes up, as it did, pulling back to the more recent local highs and essentially potentially pivoting. Okay, now what we want to look for here is a bounce off the 67 to 65, basically 66,000 range, because we got a decent amount of volume right here. We can see we got the largest amount of volume in the most recent time frame here at about 66,200. So our local bottom should be 66.2, but also quite possibly roughly 67.4. And that's a more recent resistance level. So we're just going to draw out some lines here, kind of pay attention to that, and kind of see roughly, kind of see what that looks like, how that treats us a little bit later. Okay. So again, just some kind of levels here to look for. This is the range we don't want to break below. Okay. Anything under 65K, I think, would be problematic. But between now and then, that's kind of what we're looking at. Okay, so we got our charts here, stuff figured out. We're above all moving averages minus a 20. And you got to recognize the 20 SMA. It's just a trendsetter, folks. It's not like it's a key level support or massive resistance. It's just kind of letting us know that this little initial uptrend is discontinuing, and then there's a good chance that we're going to either be range bound or continue lower. We could be range bound and continue higher, but statistically, we're more likely to go down than up at this point, just based on the fact that we broke through that descending trend, or the ascending trend rather. Now we're establishing a lower low and lower high pattern. Keep in mind too, this could also be very favorable, because if you look at this here, a lot of times when you see these kind of patterns here, it's somewhat of a bullish pattern, right? Where the price action works itself into a descending channel and inevitably breaks out. So if we do break out from this range here, this descending trend, I think there's a solid chance we're going to see a continuation further up to the mid 70,000 range. Okay, just some things to kind of think about. We're at 50 on the RSI, or no correction, we're actually down below. This is generally construed as a bearish sign. You got to recognize too, money flow index pulling back here as well. That's standard stuff, folks. Again, this takes the last 14 days of volume and essentially gives us a flow of money, and we can see money's flowing away. And this is based on the last 14 candles. So, somewhere in the range of 2.5 trading days, we can see the price action pulling back. We can also see stochastics pulling back too, and the MACD diverging. These are all positive things here to the downside. And so I guess I kind of worded that wrong. Those are disadvantageous signs to the upside, right? So in other words, if you're trying to take a long, you don't want to kind of take a long into this. You want to wait for the price action to kind of recover, get back up over 50 in the RSI at the very least, and see if stochastic can swing up. Because keep in mind, just because stochastic's low does not imply it can't go any lower, okay? So recognize that, but we are due for a slight correction here to the upside, or a slight relief rally. In fact, we're kind of consolidating here at this 0.618 fib level. It would make sense for the price action to recover from here, at the very least to retest this more recent high, to essentially retest this descending trend line, to maybe kind of consider that 69K mark, okay? Last but not least, Ichimoku Cloud, we're going to confirm here that we have no green lights to take a long position. Does this mean you just jump right into a short position? Absolutely not. While we do have confirming factors here on the smaller timeframes letting us know a short would be viable, it's also pretty well overextended, and it wouldn't make a ton of sense for the price just to rake down here immediately. It would make a lot more sense for the price to kind of give us a little bit of a dead cat, either off this 0.5 or the 0.382 level. Okay, so two potential scenarios exist in that regard, but at this point we saw tons of volume coming down. There's no reason for us to expect the price just to recover up. Me personally, if the price does leg down once more, I would say somewhere in the 67 to 67,400 mark would be a good consideration for a long. Again, based on the more recent high here working as potential support, but also the fact that we have a decent amount of volume at that 67,000 mark. I didn't touch on this earlier just because I've touched on it every single time we've looked at the charts here, but if you do take a look at the volume, the largest amount of volume we have is at 67,000. Actually, correction, well, it's a fight between 67,000 even and 66,300. So again, it's a bit of a range there, but no matter how you look at it, 67,000 smack dab right in the middle of that largest amount of volume accumulation. So ever since Bitcoin's been in this range between just say 60 and 74,000, we've seen 67,000 be the most average price for anybody buying Bitcoin at this level. So just friendly advice that's generally construed as a very positive supporting factor. So it's going to take a lot of volume to drive the price below that. Therefore, buying at support makes a lot more sense than trying to short at support. And we're getting close there. So I would not recommend a short at this point. If you do, make sure they're tight targets. You're probably not going to get a ton of meat off this bone, if that makes sense. All right, again, still a little early. We want to wait for confirmation. To me personally, I'm waiting for an entry closer to 66, 67,000 if possible for a long. Between now and then, I would just wait. I would not consider shorting to that level, just because, again, shorts are inherently more risky. Okay, I hope I made sense here, folks. I know this is kind of a longer one. Thanks again so much for watching. Again, like the video if you could. It really helps for the channel. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Deeply appreciate you. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.